Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to Tea Time with MGA, a new webinar series geared towards women, an initiative of the MGA's Women's Advisory Council. Just a brief background, the MGA created the Women's Advisory Council back in 2019 to provide advocacy for women in golf in the Met area. We focus on events, education, communication, and networking, helping women helping women get into the great game. So we're so excited to have each and every one of you joining us today. We're also going to be recording this, so we will send this to everyone who's unable to tune in. Helping us produce the webinar series is Gia Levski, Lpga professional and founder of Golf Experiences with Her. A little bit about Gia. She's spent over 25 years in the golf industry and is nationally recognized as a top professional golf instructor. Gia started Golf Experiences for Her as a way to strengthen relationships and build comfort, leaving women feeling energized, enriched, and confident in their golf games, excited to spend time at their golf club, and ready to accept their next golf invitation, hopefully, fingers crossed, around the corner. So without further ado, Gia.
Thanks, Kira. Hey, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. Okay, so we've got a lot to cover. And these next 30 minutes are going to fly by. So before I introduce our guest for today, hi, Kathy. Just a little housekeeping. So my hope for our time together was that we would be able to keep this a little interactive. I do have a question box. So if you get some time and there's going to be a lot of really good information, if something comes up that kind of strikes you and you have a comment or you have a question that you're going to want to add on to, please throw it in the comment box, and then I'll be able to pop in and jump in and ask Kathy some questions, or if I can answer it, I'll be more than willing to help. So and lots of you might be thinking the same thing, so it's always great to just go ahead and ask it. All right, so as we begin ramping up for the golf season, and I feel like so many of us are taking steps to work on our physical part of our game. So whether you're working on, working with a golf professional on your swing or training, or you're stretching, you're getting more physically fit, that's kind of the norm, what we always want to do during the winter time. But what about the mental side? How many of us are working on the mental side of our game? So last week I had the opportunity to teach at a few golf schools in Hilton Head with a good friend, and for about an hour in each school, we were able to focus on the mental game, on the human side of golf, and which I think is really sometimes hard to do. So we saw some really beautiful light bulbs go off with the women, and we thought that this would be a great place to go with this webinar. So where do we start, right? Well, we thought we'd bring an expert in to chat with us and give us some good ideas on how we can approach the mental side of golf and hopefully get us more prepared for a really great golf season. And that's where Kathy Hartwood comes in. Now, I've known Kathy for years. We live in the same area in New Jersey, and she is an absolutely wonderful instructor, teaching professional, and she's very well respected in the industry. She's also a certified life coach, life and confidence coach, I should say, and she helps golfers excel on and off the golf course, which I love because a lot of the things that affect you on the golf course come from your life off the course, right? So it works in tandem. So Kathy has an extensive golf background. She's traveled all around the world. She's competed on the European, the Korean, the Australian, the South African tours. That's pretty cool. And Kathy has also taught for the Nicholas Flick Schools, Golf for Women magazine schools. She's been a contributing editor for Golf for Women magazine for several years, and she's published a ton, I could say a ton, of instructional articles in different newspapers and magazines. And in addition, Kathy has been pretty much featured, I think, in every magazine out there. So you guys are in for a treat. So she's also an LPGA Top 50 Best Teachers. She's been nominated by Golf Digest Best Teachers in the State. So this is going to be special. Kathy combines her knowledge, training, and experience to help serious golfers play to their potential by showing them how to get out of their own way and use the talent they have right now. I love that. Thank you, Kathy. We need you right now. What do we do? Where do we start? What should we start talking about right now? Because I know we were talking about a bunch of things, but why is managing your brain, maybe so hard on the golf course? Why is that such a challenge for us?
Yeah, so well, first of all, I'm excited to be here and thank you everybody for showing up and thank you Gia and the WMGA. It's great to be here. I love what I do. I have been, as Gia said, I've taught my whole life. I've been in the golf industry my whole life, but I have never really impacted people's lives so much as when I started focusing on this part of the game. I can fix their swings and help them hit the ball better, but it really doesn't matter unless you can manage your mind, your thoughts, and your emotions around the game of golf. It doesn't matter how much talent you have. If you are getting in your own way, you're not going to be able to take it to the golf course. And most of us, as I learned the hard way by trying to play for a living and struggling, most of us, what happens is that we don't have those skills. We're not taught the skills on how to manage our minds. I just thought that honestly, I just thought I was broken. I thought there was something wrong with me. I have a brother who's playing on the tour. My dad's really good. I'm like, I knew I could hit all the shots and do all the things. And why did I feel like I kept sabotaging myself and getting in my way? And part of it is, like I said, we just don't know how to manage our minds and our thoughts and emotions around the game of golf. And this is the thing that I want to share with you that is so important, is probably your biggest key skill to have on the golf course is being able to manage your emotions. And taking it one step further is being able to deliberately create the emotions you want that help you create your best on the golf course. So let me back that up a little bit. So for most people, if you go back and you try and think about when you played your best golf, so around maybe a shot, something that you know that you're making your best swings. For a lot of people, this is when they're on the range, right? We're usually pretty relaxed on the range and we're making our best swings. And then we're like, what the heck is going on? Why can't I take that swing out onto the golf course? Why can I only take a portion of what I do on the range or the practice area on onto the golf course? And the difference is basically is that emotional state that you're in. Now, I'm not talking that I'm not talking about anything too, like woo-woo-y or that we're all like, it's all touchy-feely. I'm saying there's emotions, pressure and stress and nervous and anxious, frustration. Those are emotions and feelings. And you want to decide how you perform the best. And for most golfers, most good golfers want to be in a state of, I call it the 3 C's: calm, certain, or confident, right? If we can be in one of those states over the golf ball, then we're going to have a shot of bringing out our best talent. But what happens on the golf course is that we're swinging when we're in an emotional state of being frustrated or nervous or anxious or stressed, all the ones that I said. You can come up fear, right? Fear of disappointment, fear of failure. We can worry about all the people that might be around us or people that are in our group. And it makes it very hard for you to show up over that golf ball and make your best swings. So one of the things that I want to share with you, why does that happen? This is just quickly on how our brain works, is our brain is designed to, from prehistoric days, we haven't evolved much as a primitive brain on looking for danger in the world. Like a picture us being in a cave, we stick our head out of the cave and we're looking for the saber-toothed tiger to eat us, right? We're always on the lookout for danger, and our brain is designed to keep us safe. So we haven't evolved. That part of our brain has not evolved very much. Our brain is still trying to keep us safe. So when you go out on the golf course now, the dangers that we have in our day-to-day lives now are not saber-toothed tigers, though we need that aspect, of course. If we were going down a dark alley or we felt threatened, right, we want that to kick in. Now that our brain perceives social threats and emotional threats more in the same way as it would that tiger, so to speak. So when you go out on the golf course, the difference between the range and the golf course is that your brain scans that universe and sees danger, right? And it's telling you there's a problem, you're in trouble, right? Your brain just wants you to go home and get underneath the covers and watch Netflix and eat popcorn, right? That's what it's going to always tell you to do when you have goals or when you want to get up and go work out in the morning. It's also going to tell you that there's something going wrong, or that you're in trouble. And that would look like bunkers and out of bounds and water and people and lies, right? And just lies in the fairway, not lies that people tell, right? All the things out there that whatever you perceive as danger, right? You think that if those things are going to maybe cause me emotional pain or social pain, right? As far as just when we worry about people. when that happens, what makes managing our brain a little bit hard, if we are not used to or know or have the knowledge of being able to notice these thoughts coming up or these things happening, then we become at the effect of them, right? So what happens is now we see the bunker or we see the out of bounds or the water, and we're nervous. We're like, when I play in tournaments, I get stressed. We blame it on situations, and we blame it on things or circumstance, or we blame it on people. And whenever that happens, then you've lost all your control. You've given away all your power. So for instance, if every time you get in the bunker, you get nervous, and the bunker has a lot of power over you, right? Every time you have a 100-yard shot over water, you get anxious, you're giving all your power away to that water. And that's where we feel like we lose control out there. That's why it becomes a little bit hard and challenging. The truth is that they're in between that situation or that circumstance, that bunker or whatever it is, there's a thought. And most of the thoughts go unnoticed, like you don't notice them. We have 60 to 80,000 in a day, right? Most of them don't go unnoticed. Some of them are just flying by, and we have a lot of negative ones. And what happens is we listen to the negative ones. And when you listen to the negative emotions, your thoughts create the emotions. So let me show you how this works. Let's say if you have your circumstance is that you have a 100-yard shot over water, and you're feeling anxious or nervous about it, or stressed or pressure, whatever. Everybody's a little bit different. And you're thinking it's the water that's doing it to you. It's really the thought that I just don't want to go in. I'm going to ruin my score if it goes in. Those are the thoughts that are coming up that create the pressure or the nervousness. Another thought would be, let's say if you had an example, I'm just going to try and give you some obvious ones. So let's say if you had a 3-foot putt, right, and you had a match going on, and to win the match, or let's say if you're playing match play to win the match, your thought is, I need to make it. It can be as simple as that. And if you think that thought and then you feel pressure over that thought, what's going to happen is when your body feels pressure, it's not the same as calm. Let's face it, right? So now you're going to grip a little bit tighter. You might stroke a little bit faster. Your tempo might be off. And this is why we're like, what the heck is going on? Why can't I make that smooth stroke? And then one other thing I'll add to this, and then we can go on to something else, Gia, is that when that happens, when our brain goes into that anxious or stressed, and we're in the back of our brain worried about danger, our brain is designed to shut off to the front of our brain, which is where we think clearly and we can make good decisions. It's designed to do that on purpose because we don't want to start negotiating with a tiger that's about to eat us. We want to get all of our energy into that fight or flight mode. And anytime you get into that, you can even our body tenses up when we're getting ourselves prepared. So you want to notice that you get that your brain wants to do that. You notice that you're in the back of your brain, so to speak, and you want to have the tools to get yourself back into focusing more clearly over the shot.
Okay, so what you're saying is basically like notice that you're having these like not so great thoughts. So instead of saying, I need to make this, what would you say? Like, I want to make this, or what? Because you're going to be saying something to yourself when you're over that 3-foot putt.
Yeah, so there's only 2 things that you can ever control on the golf course, and that is your thoughts and emotions. If your thought creates that emotion. So if you say I did this, I had some coaching, I had with a guy who was talking about his son, and his son was like, I'm going to do this, and I need to make that. And this is how you know if the thought is working for you. If you say it and you can be calm and certain or confident. If you say that and it creates pressure for you, that thought's not serving you. In the instance of this kid that I was just talking about, that he was getting results from that, right? He was creating the results. So that motivated him maybe, right? Or that helped him focus more. For somebody else, that would maybe create a lot of pressure. So it's very personalized. You have to try thoughts on like you're trying on a hat or clothing. You have to say the words and notice how it feels. If you can get into that state, if it feels like you have pressure on you or stress, then the chances of you being able to bring out your best game on a consistent basis is not going to be there.
So would you recommend maybe if you say you had a game and you're going out to play and it wasn't a competitive game or it wasn't a tournament, play, but you went out there and you said, okay, for these next 6 holes, I'm going to think this thought. And that's going to be my thought stepping into each shot. and then see how those 6 holes go, make a note on your scorecard, and then say, okay, for these next 6 holes, I'm going to try this thought. Is that something that you've seen success with, or?
Not really, because I think each shot's a little bit different, right? So that's hard to have just one standard thought over everything. I do think it's good to have an arsenal of thoughts. I think there's a thing that changes, that there's just a knowing, like a knowing in yourself, knowing that if I think this thought, that it's not going to show up this way, so I'm going to choose to think something else. It could be as simple as like, listen, I'm just going to go through my routine, and whatever happens, happens. And that's really all you can control. Our results, a lot of times in golf, we force results to happen. And when you force results to happen, you're doing it from a negative energy. I liken it to, let's say if you had a crush on somebody and you wanted to make someone like you, like in high school, right? You're like, we're all weird, right, in high school, right? And you're being needy and graspy with that relationship, right? You're trying, like, come on, I need you to like me. I need you to work for me. Or like 2-year-olds or 3-year-olds, right? Listen, I got a party going on. You need to behave. You need to be on your best behavior, right? That's just, we get a little needy and graspy, and it's coming from a wrong energy. And you can't force your results, is my point. All you can do is just keep trying to show up with your best swing, and the results will come. There is a little bit of a giving, like a surrender, I call it. Like, we just got to know, like, listen, I got to trust the process. I'll give you another example. My brother plays on tour, known to have a temper a lot of the time when he was on tour. I was playing with him a couple years ago, and this just struck me because I hadn't heard him say this before, but this is it. He was hitting it really close, and he was missing some putts. And I said, how you doing? Right? Because I knew he was like getting a little ticked off. And he said, I'm making good strokes. He said, I'm just going to keep going through my routine and hitting my shots, and they'll go in. Right? We can't force the putt to go in. We can't force the results. And I was like, that's so awesome. That was such an awesome thing to hear him say, because that's exactly it. Listen, I just got to trust my process. I got to trust my routine. Some days the results are going to be there, and some days they're not going to be there.
What do you find across, that's really good information. What do you find across the board, like with your clients that you work with? What's something that, that you see that affects everybody's performance? What's something that everybody wants to seem to work on?
So this is funny. So I coach people one-on-one, people who are serious golfers. Golf is where golf matters, and they want to either perform better, they want to win, they're just a lot of COOs, lawyers, doctors, men and women, like very successful people who struggle to take it out onto the golf course. They're like, why am I so great over here, and I really kind of stink over here? Or they just really want to win, and they know they're getting in their own way. And this is the thing, no matter what, like trial lawyers, I like coach, right? And COOs, like high stress jobs. And the one thing that always comes up is they worry about what other people think. Wow. It's amazing. I'm always coaching on that at some point or another. There was actually even a quote, because I've been just totally enamored with Lee Westwood over the last few weeks. Like, he's just such a pleasure to watch, and he's playing so great. If you notice his the way that he's showing up, he's smiling much more. He looks like he's having a good time. One of the quotes that he said, I don't have it sitting right in front of me. Oh, yes, I do. Let's see if I can read it sideways. He said, I just wanted to have fun. Wait a minute, I gotta read it. And I felt calm and in control, right? It was all about his feelings. Like, he just tried to show up there and feel calm and in control. And the reality is, he really didn't have any control, right? Because he was hitting the ball in the water, right? But he was controlling what he could control, which was his thoughts and emotions. The next sentence, which I did not write down, was one of the things he goes, I just stopped worrying about what other people were thinking. Like, someone asked him what was the difference between like years ago and now. It's like so amazing that always shows up. And I'm sure for all you people who are listening, that is just a thing, right? We worry about, we're designed as tribal people to worry about what other people think. But this is the thing that we're worried about, people are going to judge. And this is what I want to tell you, whether it's reassuring or not. People judge, you judge, we all do it. Our brains are really designed to judge. It helps us sort the things that we like and don't like. Our brain likes to save energy, right? So it doesn't want to wake up every day and saying, do I like that or don't I like that? I don't know, right? It just wants to go and say, yeah, I like that, I don't like that. We're constantly, I like this color, I don't like that color. I like how people act over there, right? I don't. You do it and other people do it. So there's a little bit about, I want to tell you that don't worry about, you can't control it. We can't control the peoples. We can't control the humans. We want to, but we can't, right? Because they get to have their own thoughts and all that jazz. But a lot of times what happens is what we're worried about what other people are thinking is usually how we're judging ourselves. So one of the examples that I use, I had I had 3 daughters in 3 years. It was a busy time. I figured it out and stopped it though. They would come home crying because, girls in middle school are not so nice, and they'd be called names. They'd be like called they were stupid or they were ugly, right? And they'd be crying. And I would ask them the question, did they call you a watermelon? Right? And they go like, Mom, what? No, why would they call me a watermelon? I'm like, I don't know. Are you a watermelon? No, I'm not a watermelon. I'm like, that would be stupid. And my point is, yes, of course, so is it that you're ugly, and so is it that you're stupid. That only matters to you because it's resonating with you, right? That's something that you are thinking about yourself, which is such a teenager thing to do anyway, right? But let me take that to golf. So in golf, that's like when we're worried that we're going to hit a bad shot, we might be worried that they will think I'm a bad golfer, right? Or they might think that I'm not very good, or that I'm not very talented. Right. And so those are thoughts that we think about ourselves. So when we're worried about what other people are thinking out on the golf course, 2 things. One, I want you to know that people judge just like you judge, right? And you can't control other people's thoughts. So sometimes it's just like, we got to let that go. And then if you really get wrapped up in it, your work is working on what your thoughts are about yourself and how you're treating yourself out there. And it makes what other people think not matter so much.
I always feel like, one of the things that I always talk to my groups about when I'm working with, especially women, is that to be kind to yourself. Like when you do something good on the golf course, pat yourself on the back, say something positive, do something, because that's going to initiate all the other good stuff happening. And then also when you're smiling and you've got good posture and you're walking, and when did you see a winner walking down the 18th fairway with like slump posture? Everybody's up and they're walking, and when you're feeling that, everybody else in your group is feeling that too, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah, totally. Like how you show up is a reflection of how you're feeling, for sure. You can like create, what you're saying is like, it's kind of like doing the Superman pose, right? And we can create that different energy for sure. But this is the thing. This is the thing that makes it a little difficult, is that our brains are negative. Like we look for the negative. We like to beat ourselves up. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. And knowing that there is no upside to beating yourself up is enough of a reason to let it go. If your thought is, I stink, you're going to feel, the feeling that you're going to have is pretty yucky, right? I could use a bunch of different words. Defeated. You might feel like you're defeated, right? And then you, from a pace of, which is that head down, from a place of being defeated, you're not going to make your best swing. So there's just no upside. If you can give me an upside, email me and tell me. But just we can decide to just notice that our brain likes to do it and just drop it. Stop it. Stop doing it.
Can you change it in an instant? Can you change it like just like that if you wanted to?
Yeah, so you get to decide. So there's like levels of, so your first step is awareness, right? You want to start noticing your thoughts that you were thinking, like, and a lot of times it happens after the fact. So in other words, I just hit that in the water. What was I thinking over that ball? What was I feeling over the ball? So we notice it after it happens. Then you might start noticing it during the act, right? You can say, oh, I can see myself starting to worry about what's going to happen, or about these thoughts, and then we can do it beforehand. Some thoughts that we think over and over again get very ingrained in our brain, right? They are like glue up there, and some we can drop like that, and we decide to start thinking intentionally, is what I call it, right? Right now, most of us are thinking on the golf course unintentional thoughts. We're just at the effect of what's ever kind of flying at us, and it gets served up to us. I liken it to like if you're at a cocktail party, right, and you had two waiters coming up to you with platters of food, and one was liver pate. Pate. Tell me you don't like that, Gia. Okay. My dad, Rochester, New York, loves liver and onions. I was like, he still eats it. Anyway, so some people do like liver, whatever you don't like. And then there's other one over here with lobster or filet or whatever you like too. Why would you ever, when they're optional, why would you ever choose to eat the liver, right? If you're not my dad, right? Why would you ever choose to eat the liver, right? We do have options in switching those thoughts. That's being intentional. Some take work.
No, that's great. That's like definitely helpful. There is a question.
Yeah.
And somebody asked if Dudley Hart was your brother.
Yes.
She said that this is Jill. She said that she had scored for him at Westchester many years ago.
Did he
So,
throw any clubs? That's all I want to know.
She said he's a great guy.
Yeah.
The question is, what can someone do in the midst of a match when things are tight and the situation is critical? I get physical manifestations of stress and excitement that aren't helpful. Can a golfer try to control the effects of stress and nerves?
Yeah, so emotions are vibrations in our body. We have a thought, it creates these little neurochemicals, they show up in our body. So I'll give you an example so you believe me, is first tee jitters. First tee jitters, we all get them, everybody gets them, all tour players get them, and they show up as like maybe your hands tremble, or your heart might palpitate a little bit, your stomach might flip, whatever it is for you, right? It shows up in our body. Every emotion shows up in your body. Stress does too. That's why I'm saying that we get tighter and all the things that happen when we're not in those states that we like to be in. This is the thing, and I know we're close on time, so I'll go through it quickly. You have 4 things to do with an emotion, any emotion that you have. You can avoid an emotion, and avoiding an emotion is like, this is what we do when we buffer, when we eat when we're upset, or we drink when we're upset. We're like, yeah, I don't feel like being stressed out about work. I'm just going to have a pint of ice cream, right? That's avoiding dealing with the emotion. Reacting to emotion would be throwing a club. I'm mad, I throw a club, right? That's another way of dealing with the emotion. Resisting emotion is something that a lot of people do when they have anxiety or stress, right? We're like, oh no, 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 right? And that's like pulling on a dog chain, especially my dog. He does not do well on a leash. Like if I pull, he pulls back. We make it bigger, right? So when we have that anxiety, that's why people end up having a lot of times panic attacks too. When we have that anxiety and we say no, we end up making it bigger. The best way to handle any emotion is to the 4th way, which is to allow it. So you've got to sit there and say, all right, I'm stressed. I'm not going to make it a big deal. It's like, I get that I'm stressed. What am I thinking? And just allow it in your body. You can be nervous and have first tee jitters and still make a good golf swing, right? You can still be in that state. It's like the more that you make it a big deal, the more that you create it and it becomes bigger, and then it becomes very unmanageable. I coach people on how to do this. That's like part of the work. It's hard for me to explain it to you in a part of the work that I do, but it's hard for me to explain it in a short amount of time. I have a podcast too that in one of my episodes, I talk about emotions and these stages. If you want to listen to them again, I don't have the number off the top of my head, but I'm sure you can find it by the title. But that's what happens. And when you get stressed, then like you said, it shows up in your body, so you can't make your best swing, right? You want to start allowing it. And then one other thing that I just wanted to share is that Tiger Woods is known to say that, Justin Thomas, I think, said this about Tiger Woods, is that he allows himself 15 to 30 seconds to feel an emotion before he gets himself back into his state. And because we have mismanaged minds, so to speak, and we haven't been taught how to deal with our emotions, can you tell I'm talking fast before the time runs out? Then what happens is that we don't know how to do that, and we carry it on to the next shot.
No, that's such good information. I hope, Jill, did that helped you out a little bit. But Kathy's podcast, which is awesome, is called Above Par, and you can find it on Spotify. Is that right? And Apple or
and iTunes? Yes. Yep. Both of those.
So, Kathy, how can some of these ladies get in touch with you if they want to reach out?
Yeah, so so you can reach me at kathyhartwood.com. I also have a masterclass that actually, the timing is awesome because it is opening up next week, and you can find more information about that. I go through the foundations of what I teach my clients one-on-one, and so it's just a little bit more feasible for more people, and that's at masteryourgolfbrain.com. It's opening next week. We can sign up, but I'm just going to give you, since probably most of you aren't on my email list, I'm going to make, and I'm giving everybody a little bit of a launch discount for a small window. I'm going to, maybe you can send that out to Gia in a link, but I'll give a discount for anybody who's listening if you use the code WMGA. It's not like, don't do it yet. Don't do it yet because I haven't set it up. I just thought about that.
Kathy, this is the MGA, not the WMGA.
Okay, the MGA then, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Small detail.
Now, so a big thank you to the MGA, right, for wanting to create.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, good. It's good. It's good. Wanting to create something so special for their female members. This is awesome. Ladies, you will also be receiving your Tea Time with the MGA newsletter within the next week, which will recap some of Kathy's awesome information today, and hopefully a couple little yummy nuggets, maybe of golf and some lifestyle stuff we might send out for you as well. So the next tea time with the MGA is next month. It'll be Wednesday, April 28th at 12:30 Eastern time. And we'll be talking rules. So we'll talk a little bit about the rules of golf, which there's so many changes and things that have been happening the last couple of years. So that'll be kind of fun. And then maybe a little splash of something special that'll kind of jump in, hopefully, for that half hour. So we hope you all join us. Again, thank you so much to Kathy Hartwood, who's amazing. And I want to keep listening to you because it makes me want to like relax and go play and be nicer to myself and think good things.
Yeah.
So enjoy your Thursday, everyone. Thank you again, and have a great day.
Okay. Thank you, guys.